In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Please be seated. This Thanksgiving weekend gone by, which remind back to Thanksgiving, Brad, Lily, and I, my husband, my daughter, and myself, we ventured to New York City. I'd never been there before. And on our first night, we joined the great migration of bleary-eyed tourists to Times Square, like moths to a flame. We squeezed ourselves onto the famous red steps. If you've ever been to Times Square, these like bleachers, and they're red. And from there, you can look at the ball. And yes, we gazed at the huge electronic billboards. And we became part of a spontaneous, transient community. And I say a community only in the sense that we all came together with a common purpose. And that was to marvel at the advertisements that flashed before our eyes. That corporations, I was told, spend upwards of $3 million a month to have their image on the screen. And I did the math. It's $1.14 a second. Times Square and Broadway Avenue, where we and thousands of tourists found ourselves on that warm October eve, our faces turned towards the altar, where wealth, fame, glitz, prosperity, and perpetual happiness is worshipped and adored. But it wasn't always like that. I'm going to tell you a little bit of history. Until 40 years ago, Broadway and Times Square was a seedy, rat-infested place. By the 1950s and 60s, the area had built a reputation for itself as a place of prostitution, open drug trading, peep shows, and con games. And cardboard encampments erected by those who found themselves living on the margins were everywhere. And in the 1980s, Broadway was transformed by real estate developers, city planners, and architects. The city partnered with Disney with the vision to make the area safe and alluring for families. A mecca for the middle class, seeking to escape their humdrum lives and find a little magic. 42nd Street was rescued and delivered into the hands of children. And the seediest burlesque theater on Broadway became home to Disney and its message of fairy tale endings. There was, however, no restoration of souls. The broken people of 42nd Street, they were elbowed out. The message for them, you are not welcome here. You are not welcome in the new Disney kingdom. Contrast the glittering lights of Broadway with a dark corner just up the street from Times Square on 7th Avenue. And it was there that a man experiencing homelessness sets up a makeshift home, a place to lay his head. No bright beacons draw anyone's attention to his agenda. His signs, taped to the ground, bus tickets, food vouchers, put your money if you wish, they're barely legible in the dark. When Brad, Lily, and I ventured out from our hotel and would head south towards the bright lights of Broadway, we would pass his dark frame, covered in blankets. His vulnerability, his cursedness, laid out before us. At nighttime, tired from a day's sightseeing, as we passed by our man, he became our point of reference. Lily said, I know we're almost home when I see him. at least our home away from home, a place to rest our heads. And somehow, I want to talk about this morning how these two words collide. They are colliding. I've been reading a book. I was reading it while I was there. It's called Breathing Space, A Spiritual Journey in the South Bronx. It was written by Heidi Newmark, and she's a Lutheran pastor, and she was in the South Bronx at a church called the Church of the Transfiguration for almost upwards of 20 years in the mid-'80s up to about 2003. And Newmark tells story after story of people, mainly women and children, struggling to bring dignity to their lives, suffering from underemployment, addictions, HIV and AIDS, abuses of all kinds. Newmark herself marvels at the distance from the upscale restaurants and shops of Fifth Avenue to the abject poverty in the South Bronx. And at the intersection of these two worlds, we find Jesus' words. Blessed are you who hunger now, for you will be satisfied. Woe to you who are rich, for you have already received your comfort. What do these words mean to our man at 7th Avenue and West 57th Street? What do those words mean to those of us who sit taking selfies on the red steps in Times Square? For a community gathered on a hill in Galilee around 30 AD, elbowed out of any kind of rights of citizenship in their land, waiting for salvation, expecting it. These were words of rebellion. They did not view these words as a token promise, a nice sentiment tossed at them along with some loaves of bread and some fish. For a people who had nothing to lose and everything to gain, by the words of this man who himself lived on the margins, ate and slept with them, they received these words as a promise of a new identity and as a warning to the wealthy empire that kept getting stronger at their expense. Blessed are you who hunger now, for you will be satisfied. Blessed are you who hunger now. We pray that God would protect us, protect our children. We pray for our children's blessings. Can we pray that our children will be hungry? That they will be hungry for compassion and justice. That they will identify that deep, insatiable thirst to be God calling them to love of Him, love of self, and love of creation. Byron said this Sunday we celebrate All Saints' Day. So you might be wondering why I'm telling you all this on today of all days. The day when we celebrate and we remember how we, through faith in our baptism, are numbered with all the saints that come before us. We, the believers in the man born in Bethlehem, who upended the wealthy, powerful systems of this world, exposing the true poverty of every person, and then declaring it sacred. He declared it sacred by relinquishing himself to the most shameful death known to man. We join with all the saints, hailing our Christus Victor, who defeated the power of sin and death. Through the waters of baptism, we follow him in our own spiritual death and resurrection. In our thoughts and our words and our deeds, we take part in the restoration of this earth to that promised other kingdom, not Disney. Blessed are you who hunger now, for you will be satisfied. Woe to you who are rich, for you have already received your comfort. We, the saints, must digest these words, because, to quote Martin Luther, we are all beggars. God's call in our lives is to acknowledge our poverty and claim it as sacred. We must heed the warning that wealth accumulated in this world is no more nourishing than a Twix bar. There is a church in South Bronx, a breathing space, she calls it. A space in a part of town where people die from asthma attacks on a regular basis in the year 2000 because the air quality is so bad and treatment is often unattainable. A space where God breathes His Spirit on those lives who enter those doors and engage in the life of the saints, whose lives are knit together by the faith of their baptism. Still broken lives, still scrappy, fragile, sick, rat-infested, volatile lives. They are a community of people whose lives intertwine, a community of saints holding onto hope, finding energy and determination where there shouldn't be any, celebrating inside the four walls of a broken down church with a leaky roof. It makes this place seem like a palace. Celebrating. Celebrating what? Celebrating the powerful transformation of the heart that is the gift of God to all the saints. A transformation not like anything that looked like on 42nd Street. I'm speaking of a transformation that often goes unnoticed to the rest of the world. It might look more like cessation of hatred, the chance to die with dignity and hope, the lessening of fear of those who are different from us, the movement towards loving and aching, distressed creation Christ has come to save and transform, even when it lashes out at us. This is the exercise of the sainthood. The broken things of our lives, the tender, fragile messiness of our lives that we want to hide away for shame of them, away from the bright lights. This is where the kingdom of God is, my friends. And we need eyes to see that and ears to hear. And such perception is what we pray for our children. This is the glorious, gritty communion of sainthood that we celebrate today. Let us pray. Lord, we bear witness to the saints of the Church of the Transfiguration in South Bronx. Uphold them by your Spirit. Give them strength to live out your gospel. And we ask the same for us, Lord. Give us the courage and strength to look upon our poverty with compassion and grace, holding fast to the promise of your kingdom.